What up, Soul Tribe family? It's your girl, Soliel Lindsey, owner of Soul Rise Essentials, and you are watching another episode of Soul Seek Conversations. We are a mental wellness podcast for resilient humans on the grow. This is episode 26, and we have Jalisa Hardy joining us. And, oh, there she is. Hey, girl. I'm excited, y'all. Let me do a couple announcements. Y'all know how we roll. We do this once a month on a Thursday. And what we do is we exist to create community. We are sharing resilient stories. We are creating connection. And we're giving voices to brave, resilient humans to tell their stories. How they got over, how they're getting over. This is not a podcast for perfect people. We are not always politically correct, but one thing you can guarantee is that we are always going to be our authentic selves. And our intention with sharing is to inspire, empower, connect, educate with someone else or for someone else. So that's what we exist to do. If you don't know who Soul Rise Essentials is, again, my name is Soliel Lindsey. I'm the owner. And what we do is we offer mental wellness merch. So you see me decked out in my Pack Light hat. Y'all, this is one of my favorite hats. It's an aqua color. What's up, AP Styles? Hey, beautiful April. Nice to see you, and thank you for joining me. This is my new hat, y'all, my new favorite hat. I love all the stuff that I've designed, but this hat has been my friend, and I just noticed that it matches this shirt. This shirt is not available, y'all. However, if you want it, it can be, but, you know, this was for me. I didn't realize it matched. So when I was getting dressed for the podcast, I was like, oh, this is cute. This is cute. It's giving, it's giving, it's giving. But yeah, so we create mental wellness merch for resilient humans on the grow for the entire family. So that includes your children as well. So I'm based in Richmond, Virginia, and I have a trauma story, just like so many other people, but I 180'd that thing, okay? I shifted my life. I started learning about the brain. I started learning about trauma. I started learning about the gut-brain connection and how trauma affects your mental health and the things you've been through and also your physical health. All of that stuff, whole journey, right? If you want to see my episode of Soul Seek Conversations, you can head over to our YouTube. Just type in Soul Rise Essentials or type in Soul Seek Conversations. You will see myself with my twin sister where I shared part of my journey. I think I need to do my own story by myself to just kind of add a little bit more context to some of the things that I shared. But yes, I created this brand in order to just show people that you're not alone. Community is so important, and it's a lot of people dealing with so many things on their own. And community, what I found in my research and my own personal lived experience, that community is healing. There's a part of your journey where you do need to isolate and learn some things and reflect, right? But at some point, you got to redirect that thing and fall into community, people that are better for you, that are healthy, that understand you, that want to see you well. So shout out to the Soul Tribe, because that's who y'all are for me and for so many other people. I have this beautiful necklace on, the Soul Tribe necklace, one of the original affirmation necklaces that I created. All of our jewelry is hypoallergenic, tarnish free, and waterproof. They come in 3 colors: gold, rose gold, and silver. So you choose whatever color you like, whatever you resonate, okay? You can go to our website at soulriseessentials.com. If you are new here, again, we create mental wellness merch and accessories and jewelry for the entire family. So we have a Soul Tribe necklace. We have a loved necklace right at the top. Again, all of these come in 3 different colors. We also have a resilient necklace as well. So however you feeling, whatever mood or affirmation you want to call into your life, put that thing on. I'm going to tell you that right now. Okay. Yes, April, we absolutely need community. She said it's giving. Thank you. What's up, Black Lives Matter 804? Hey, y'all. So excited. Let me make sure I got all my notes. I'm excited to be here with y'all because, again, it's only once a month. I'm a single mom. Shout out to all the single moms. Share this with a single mom so they can be inspired by Jalisa today. Said all that to say my time is precious and limited, and I be spent, child. So me and Jalisa going to be talking about that. But yeah, once a month. But let me tell you, these episodes, again, have been so fruitful. I get messages all the time. I am out in my city and people walk up to me. Can I be on the podcast? I enjoy the podcast. Blows my mind. Okay. So I'm walking in purpose. It feels great. Share this podcast with someone because we want the folks to come on and roll on in. We got an email that just went out, a text message that just went out. Speaking of which, if you shop on our website, you're not already part of this VIP Soul Tribe family. Do that because you will get a 15% coupon code to use when you shop with us. I also want to let you know that you can do that by going to our website. And it's going to be a pop-up. So it'll ask you if you want to be added to the VIP list. Get the code, honey, and go shop, okay? Hoodies. Hoodie season is here. Y'all love these damn hoodies, child. Y'all love these hoodies. So we got the burnt orange back, okay, small to 2X. All right, and then we also have black restocked as well. Go get yours. Go use your code. Okay, don't be waiting till Black Friday. Don't be waiting till Christmas. None of that. We got black as well. Show y'all the hoodie. Y'all, people are obsessed with these things. They are so comfy, so soft. What a beautiful, bold message. Simple, subtle, gets the point across. Okay, I got my Do Good, Be Good shirt on that I ordered for myself, that I made for myself. But go get your hoodies. They're on the website. Other thing I wanted to show you were stocking stuffers, y'all. So we have a sticker, very simple sticker that we designed, but stocking stuffers, right? This sticker supports Soul Rise Essentials and mental wellness. Go get these stocking stuffers. Put them wherever you want, child. On your notebooks, on your books, on your journals. Wherever, okay? This is, I already showed y'all this. I do want to show y'all this. If you're shopping for the kids, right? We have some kids merch left in the store because the inventory for kids is a little low right now. But jewelry-wise, you want to think about this for the babies. This is the original Soul Tribe necklace, right? But then we have a mini that goes with it. These are for your little ones. Buy them for your little ones. Have them put them on together, take pictures, and call their sisters and their cousins and their friends. Their Soul Tribe, right? People who feel like sunlight. People that support you, that love you, your rollies, your day ones, okay? Yes. And then also more stocking stuffer ideas. Uh-oh, please don't fall, child. Boom. We got a human on the grow pen. Put them on your hats. Put them on your shirts. Put them on your bags. Put them on your backpacks. Put them on your jean jackets. Yeah. We got Shine Your Light. This is the newest one. Stocking stuffers. Perfect. And then we got It's My Vibe for Me. It's my vibe for me. Hey, yeah. Okay, let me make sure I got all my announcements. We're going to bring Miss Jalisa on up in here because y'all know I can talk. But let me make sure I said everything. Let's see. Oh, one last thing. We have digital wellness journals. Go get you one, okay? Holiday season is here. It's a lot of mixed feelings and emotions for so many people. Keep track of how you feeling. Write it down. Go get one of our journals. I printed mine off, but she not at my fingertips. One other thing I want to show y'all, and thank you for your patience. Look, and listening to the announcements, how we pay our bills. Teresa, what's going on, sis? Thank you for joining me. Listen, if Teresa ain't here, my mama ain't here, Beth ain't here, it ain't a podcast. Because one of those ladies is always at Soul Seed Conversations. Look at this, y'all. You need one of these. It is a mental wellness manifesto poster that I designed, that I wrote just for you. And I'll read a little excerpt. It says, I will not dim my own light. Instead, I will shine brightly in my uniqueness. I vow to uphold healthy boundaries with myself and with others. I will contribute positively to the world by doing my inner work. Ooh, excuse me, y'all. As I evolve, heal, and grow, I will meet each version of myself with kindness and self-compassion. And I'm going to stop there. But you got to get one of these. Let me show you size-wise. It's going to look beautiful in your office, beautiful in your bathroom, beautiful in your bedroom. You need it. Get you one. Brand new on the website, ready to ship. Perfect stocking stuffer. Like if you know somebody going through something that's experienced a loss or a different transition in their life, you want to show some love to them, I recommend any of our products, but that is a good one right there. The digital wellness journal and also the loved necklace that I showed you up here. Perfect pick-me-up gift. Okay. If you would like to be a guest on the podcast, if you have a resilient story to share, a mental health story to share, or a mental wellness story to share, be our guest. We would love to hear from you. You can email us at mystory@soulriseessentials.com. Y'all, you spell Soul Rise just like this. Y'all know I love to show off my little mug. Just like that, SOL Rise Essentials. We got to turn it back to the other side, though, because it's all about the podcast today. Yes, my story at soulriseessentials.com. Email me. We'll set up a phone call just like Jalisa and I did. Make sure it's a good fit for the podcast. And we're going to set you up, okay? We're booking into 2024 now, but we would love to talk to you. Again, see this episode and all past ones on our YouTube. All right? Trigger warning. This is a deep podcast, but it's also lighthearted. We're going to have fun. We're going to talk. We're going to share our experiences in a candid way, but it can get heavy, okay? And Jalisa has been through some tough things, but we're also going to talk about how she's now shining in her purpose. But just know if there's anything said that makes you uncomfortable, that triggers you, you don't have to stay on, honey. We would love you too, but come back another day, okay? Just pause it, maybe come back, but definitely share this with someone. If you reach it to the end and you saw the whole episode, drop some sunshine emojis down below and share this with somebody who you think this will benefit. But again, if you know a single mom or even a single parent or even somebody that's experienced complex trauma, because a lot of the things she's going to talk about, a lot of us have been through or know someone that's been through it. And let's just be frank, y'all. Black people, we done been through some things, and some of our issues look similar. And so it's going to be a good, candid conversation today. All right, Jalisa, girl, I'm done talking, honey. Let me bring you in the room. All right, where you at? Let's see. Hey, gorgeous.
Hi. Let me back this thing up.
Okay.
All right.
How are you? Welcome to Soul Seed Conversations, honey.
Sis, let me tell you, okay, it's been a morning, okay, but I needed your energy. I needed your light.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm glad you did the introduction and all of that in the beginning because I could feed off your energy. I could, get myself together because, listen, as a single mom, it be some days you just like, look.
Throw the whole day away, okay, at 8 o'clock in the morning. I get it. Throw the whole day away.
But yes, I'm so glad to be here.
Good.
As you mentioned, I'm a single mom. I have a 4-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old. And today, my mom has been sick all week. And she normally has my kids, so if they in and out the camera, that's why.
Hey, listen, I get it. Okay, mine is at school right now, but you at home, you work from home, mom. I get it. So hey to the babies, welcome to the Soul Tribe, all of y'all.
Yes.
Thank you for. Oh, go ahead.
Yes, I'm grateful to be here. I'm definitely glad to be here to have this conversation. I know that one of the messages that I got this morning is like, even though you're struggling, even though you're having a hard day, it's somebody that needs to hear your message out there. So
For sure.
I'm like, it's for the people. It's not just about me. It's for the people. So I'm grateful to be here.
And also, too, what you said when you first came on is that, like, you were having a morning, right? You don't know what kind of morning I was having, right? But I still got to show up for this business, show up for the podcast. And so me choosing intentionality and to be positive and also candid about what I'm going through, you were able to feed off of that. And so that's what I was saying earlier. Community is so important. Like, when you up, I might be down and vice versa. So it's so important, to just show up however you feeling so you can get what you need. So thank you for sharing that. And again, welcome to the Soul Seat, girl. So I want to ask you a question because you did touch on this a little bit, but I have a couple of different segments that I do on the podcast. The first one I call it's just a question. How is your mental health on a scale from 1 to 5? And be open, transparent. How is your mental health?
Honestly, today
in this moment,
today in this moment right now, I would say honestly, I'm at a 2.5.
Okay.
It's been a challenging week, and I tend to put a lot on myself. Girl, you already about to have me crying on here.
It's okay. Listen, we got room and space for all of that. Just get you some tissue because I ain't with you. I'm not right there with you.
Being a single mom, some weeks, some days are really hard because you don't always have that person to lean on and be there to support you when you just need a minute. And this morning, like, I was just like, yo, I just need a minute, y'all.
Yeah.
And of course, my babies being so young, they don't understand.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I get it.
And I hate being like the version of myself that comes up when I just don't have that space.
Come on.
To just be.
Yeah. I love what you just said because I only have one. I have a 4-year-old. It's a boy. He's busy. Do you have boys and girls?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So is there a difference? Have you seen a difference between the genders? Hey, boo.
That's my daughter.
Hey. Have you seen a difference in between the energy level with girls and boys?
So that's one thing that I'm learning about. So I'm currently getting certified in human design. And it's something where it basically is the study of your energy field, your aura. Yeah, look, girls, the girls have more energy. They definitely have more spice. They have more fire. Okay, the little girls.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'm learning about the different energy types, and my sons are what I call manifesting generators and generators, and my daughter is a manifester, and manifestors are really like the bossy ones.
Mm-hmm.
And my daughter, she is definitely the epitome of her energy type, because this morning I usually have them like do their lessons on their tablets, and she like, no,
Mm.
I don't want to do my
Yeah.
lesson. I want to watch my videos. And when I tell you she had the biggest meltdown, because
Mm-hmm.
that's just what she wanted at that time. And I'm like, sis, like, you just don't know this, the
Mm-hmm.
mind state that I'm in
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah. I really like what you said about the version of you that shows up when you just need a minute. I went to a wellness event this past Sunday. What's up, y'all? Thank y'all for joining.
Hey, hey,
Thank you for
Jamie.
leaving
Hey,
comments as well.
Tosh.
I went to a wellness event for moms. It was for Black moms, and it was so beautiful. It was everything I needed. When I walked in there, I honestly had some. I was triggered a couple of days prior to and leading into there because I got mommy issues. Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
so it was a situation that happened with me and my mom that kind of really triggered some stuff on the inside of me. And now I'm also a mom, and I'm walking into this community event not knowing what to expect. But when I tell you, I left there and I felt loved on. I felt like the weight that was on my chest and my heart before I walked in was completely gone. And I thought I needed to share that, but it was like, no, once I just received that love from them and just hearing other people's story and knowing that I wasn't by myself, I felt relieved and I was actually in a better mood. But one thing that I thought about and one thing they brought up too is that version of ourselves, even though we're working on ourselves, we're healing. When we're triggered, you going back to that place, right? And I don't like that version of myself. And it's so hard. It's such a hard moment to move through when you are triggered, even though you've been doing the work, because people think, oh, I'm healed. No, you're going to be triggered again. And that old version of yourself is going to come up, but it's what you do in that moment. It's hard though when you got these babies. It's hard.
Yes, especially like I said, like being a single mom, it wasn't something that I wanted. It wasn't something that I expected going into, my marriage and having kids. I thought that this was going to be a lifelong thing. And realizing like last night I was on one of my classes, and they posted this quote basically about how when we get into relationships or partnerships, sometimes the partner that we find is the younger version of ourselves
Ooh.
trying to heal the wounds that we experienced from our childhood, from our
Oh,
parents.
wow. Yeah.
And that is like, I gotta find the quote, but it's like when I heard that quote, I was definitely triggered, because I told myself, like, growing up, like, I'm not gonna find anybody like my dad, I'm not gonna do that, da, 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 thinking that, getting into this marriage, that was what I was gonna do. That wasn't the
It's an
case.
energetic thing. It's so subconscious and it's so subtle. You don't even know you're doing it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
getting out of that space in that relationship, it was like, okay, now I got to figure out what this is going to look like as a single mom. My mom wasn't a single mom in reality. She was, but
Was she
um,
married?
yeah, she was married.
Okay.
But you know how you have a partner who's there but not really present. That's how my father was.
Yeah.
And becoming a single mom, it was like, okay, I know the best decision for me was to get out of this abusive situation. But what is my life going to look like on the other side? Is my life going to be better on the other side? And some days, I honestly be looking back like, maybe.
That is the duality of life. And it's another word I think I mean to use, but it's like, because I was in a similar situation. I was not married, but you stand and you look at the situation, you looking at all the facts. You know how you feel, you know what you're experiencing, you know it's not healthy for you. You got these kids to feed, right? You know that the relationship is not healthy, but you also know that being a happy, whole, conscious, intentional parent is a hard job. But and I think you can probably attest to this as well. I know I made the right decision.
Yeah,
I know I would not
absolutely.
be happy and whole had I stayed where I was, being manipulated, being gaslit and emotionally abused and all of that stuff, because I can't, your children are going to repeat exactly what relationships that you were in, right? We were just talking
Yeah.
about that. So do you want them to see mama, quote unquote, struggling, trying to get it together, communicating with us, telling her, telling y'all, I need a minute? Or do you want them to see you in an abusive relationship or something that's not serving you? It's a hard decision to make, but it's one that you have to make.
Yep. And that was what it came to. That was what it came down to, because it was not only impacting me, it was impacting my kids. Because I told my therapist, I said, honestly, had it just been me, I probably would have stayed a little longer to try to figure it out. But once I saw the impact that it was having on my kids, and how my oldest son became the target for him when he couldn't get to me, it was like, you know what? I'm not going to do this to my kids. So they can be sitting in therapy at 30, like wondering why mommy stayed, why mommy didn't protect us, why mommy, I was like, no, I'm not going to do that.
And so many people I have heard as adults, they look back on their childhood and they're sharing their stories about their parents and being in abusive relationships. And so many of them be like, I wonder why my mom stayed, or I wonder why my dad stayed. And then the person in the relationship, like you said earlier, you considering staying because you want to have a happy family. But a child is not going to be able to look at you and be like, you need to leave. They don't even know what's really going on. They just know the energy ain't right. They know what they're seeing. They don't know exactly what's going on. They know right from wrong, right? And so a lot of people stay in these relationships. But if you could fast forward 20 years and ask your kids what they think, I guarantee you every last one of them will be like, why didn't you just leave?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I talked to my mom about. Like, Mom, like, why did you stay for so long? But it came down to, and this was something that I had to reconcile for myself, religious beliefs. And
let's put a pin in that. Hold on. Let me read some of these comments, boo, because I already see you about to be rolling. Okay, so if you're just joining, this is episode 26 of Soul Seed Conversations. We have Jalisa. What state are you in?
Maryland.
Jalisa in Maryland. I know y'all hear the accent coming out a little bit. Purposely, Tasha says have to regulate yourself while regulating them facts. Ooh, that's hard with these babies. I think this is one of your friends, the Mako Edge.
Yeah, the Mako Edge. That's my friend Jamie.
She said, hey, you too. She said she got to run, but she wanted to jump on and share some love. We appreciate you.
Thanks,
Tasha says sometimes Tasha shows up when I'm overwhelmed. Listen, yes, we got to be honest about it and just move through it. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
What up, Stro? Thank you for joining. Shout out to my success coach in the building. All right, let's go back to what you were saying. So, yeah, go ahead.
So just reconciling the beliefs about divorce, about, sort of believing that, I got myself into this situation, so, I just got to deal with it. I got to take it on the chin and keep it moving because, I'm married now. I got to stay in this relationship. I got to stay in this marriage because I made vows under God. I made vows in front of all of these people. I made vows to this man, even though he wasn't sticking to the vows. I was still, because of what I saw my mom do for over 30 plus years, cheating, lying, manipulation, abuse, like all of these things. And she stayed. So I'm like, okay, let me, I don't want to be a single mom. I don't want to raise my kids in a broken home. But what I didn't realize was that even though my parents were together, I was still raised in a broken home. So having to reconcile my religious beliefs to say, okay, divorce was not an option, to realizing that, listen, God would not want his daughter to be in an abusive situation. He wouldn't want the children of his daughter, which are also his children, to be in an abusive situation, in an abusive environment. And not understanding the impact that mental, emotional, verbal abuse has on you. Like I experienced physical abuse, financial abuse, but the mental, emotional, that sticks with you. And it's hard to shake if, one, you don't have community, if you don't have faith, if you don't have that support system to be able to say, sis, like, because my therapist was like, Jalisa, you don't realize it, but you're in an abusive marriage. Because I'm like justifying stuff. And yes, baby, what do you need? No, mommy is on the phone. You see mommy on the phone. You want to say hi?
Hey, friend.
No, you don't want to say hi.
What's up, boo?
This is my 1-year-old.
Hey, baby.
And stop, okay, please. I'm gonna have to take you to Nana. And my kids feed off my energy, so they know. They know when mommy not feeling it.
And that's another thing too. Like what you just said, going back to having to make that tough decision to leave your marriage. The kids are feeding off your energy, so whatever mom is feeling, they feeling that, and they don't know how to express it. So that's why it's important to do whatever's best for you. You gotta do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and when I left, my youngest was only 1 month old. So I was fresh postpartum, like still going through all of that. And it was one of the hardest decisions that I ever had to make in my life. Because being a single mom, he was the sole provider for our family. I was staying at home, and I'm like, God, like, what I'm going to do?
What did you do?
I stood on my faith. I stood on my community and my support system. I, did what I knew. Government assistance. Like, because I can't do it on my own. I can't do it on my own. I knew that I wanted to be at home with my kids, and I knew that, going out to get a job with 3 kids was literally only going to be paying for daycare. Like, that's really what it was going to be, with my kids being 1 month old, 1 and 2 at the time.
Yep.
It was like I had to make a choice. I had to make a decision.
Here's one thing I want to say, because let's go back. So Jalisa and I met, and it's so funny because it's a lot of women entrepreneurs, especially Black women entrepreneurs, like really we're striving, we're creating businesses, we're trying to make impact on the world. We are doing that, right? So she and I met at the NASDAQ Entrepreneurial Center. It was a virtual training and just entrepreneurial community that we were a part of. And I just, put out there what I was doing with the podcast, and she let me know she wanted to come on. So I say all that to say our faces were on a tower, the NASDAQ tower. Ooh, not the sweatshop. We were on a NASDAQ tower in New York City because we were graduates of this program. And this was by a NASDAQ program, right, for entrepreneurs. And so we're doing hard things. We're raising these babies. We are on our healing and wellness journeys, which is not easy. And then on top of that, being single moms. On top of that, trying to build businesses. But I also want to say this. The worst thing that you can be is not a single mom. And I know people going to think that's what did she just say that? It's not. And it ain't. It's not. It's hard. It's probably one of the hardest things you're going to be, but it's not the worst thing that you could be. In my opinion, the worst thing that you could be is a deadbeat parent, male or female. Okay? Because we're showing up every single day. You know what I mean? Improving ourselves, raising our children, creating impact on the world, sharing our stories to help other people, not just other single moms. And we're going to talk about the work that you do. But I thought it was important to talk about like how we met and what path that we're on, because we're sharing this part of our journey. But this is just one facet of who we are, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so talk to them about your titles, like who you are and what you do.
Yes. So I have a lot of different things that I do even now. I'm currently getting certified in human design. I'm getting certified in trauma of money. I am a
trauma
of money. Yeah, because that's one of my biggest challenges, but I realize it's related to our relationships. So in dealing with our relationships and because how you do one thing is how you do everything. So in dealing with that, I'm learning how to better relate to money. But in that space, I'll be able to support other people, women, Black people, with their relationship with money so that we can be wealthy. Like, we deserve to be wealthy. We deserve to have money, and not just the little bit of money that they want to give us at jobs. We deserve to have generational wealth, but we have to get through some generational stuff, some mind blocks and all of that, so that we can have it and keep it and circulate it within our community. So
talk that talk, girl. Talk that talk. I love that for you.
I'm doing that certification, but I'm a board certified holistic health practitioner, and that came from going to school. I went to school. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and be a pharmacist because that's where the money was at. But my last year, I'm like, this don't feel right. This do not feel right, because it was only for the money. And my experiences with the mainstream medical field, I didn't have the best experiences, even down to when I was conceived. 6 months into my mom's pregnancy, they told her, your daughter is not going to make it. She will be born without a stomach, and her esophagus and her...
Somebody trying to call you. Uh-oh, no sound yet. It should be coming back, though. Can you still hear me? Uh-oh, can't hear you. All right, she's probably coming back. What I wanted to say, I'll say this until we get her back, is that so many people have so many preconceived notions about single mom. Ooh, child, that term just gets people in a tizzy, okay? And there's a thought, there's an image that comes to most people's mind. Barefoot, ghetto, pregnant, government assistance, multiple children, all of that. This was a married woman. And the work that I get to do with the nonprofit foundation, shout out to the Forward Foundation, is that we get to assist working single moms and dads that are doing well for themselves, have a good job. They cannot go to the state and receive any assistance because their income is too high. But they've reached a point in their life where some type of crisis happened and it affected their finances. It could be divorce, right? They were in a two-parent or two-income household, but something happened with the anything. And I'm talking about all kinds of scenarios can play out, right? Or a parent got sick. You know, they were doing well financially, balancing everything. Now they got to take care of their parents. That's a whole nother new expense. And so I say all that to say that working with that foundation, also being the type of mom and person I was with the income I had, you know, there's so many scenarios out there. So I hope that Jalisa sharing her story and me sharing what I just shared opens and broadens your mind a bit, because single mom, that term is just, it just has such a negative connotation to it. But what it also means is that it's one person for the most part, because I know there's other scenarios like we just talked about. This mom is showing up for the most part, right? The moms that I'm talking about are showing up every single day without a reminder. And so I want to just put a positive notion on that word as we share this her story. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes. So they told my mom, one of the nurses told my mom, you know what, you might as well just, bless you, baby. You might as well just go ahead and get an abortion because your baby is not, they're not going to have a viable life. And hearing that growing up, it was like the people who were supposed to be there to support my mom had given up on me before I even had a chance to live. Mm-hmm. So that was my perception of the medical field growing up. And like seeing me now, it's like I wish she could see me now,
right?
Because she gave up on me before I even had a chance,
right?
And
that's powerful.
That experience led me to like really searching out other ways for healing, other ways for just really figuring out the health disparities that our community, you know, deals with on a regular basis. So I started doing some research on natural medicine, natural pharmacy, and I ended up finding a naturopathic doctor who was literally 5 minutes from my school. And at the time, I had already taken out student loans, and that's a whole nother conversation, okay? I had already taken out student loans, and I'm like, you know what? She said, I reached out to her. She was like, I'll mentor you. She said, but go ahead and finish your degree. You got those student loans. Go ahead and finish your degree, and then we'll go from there. Right after I graduated, I started working with her, and she opened my eyes to such a new way of healing. And I said, this is where I'm supposed to be. Seeing people heal naturally, seeing people deal with the mental, spiritual, emotional aspects of their healing, because a lot of times the mainstream medical field, they're only dealing with the physical. They're not getting to the root.
Correct.
And that was what she was doing. She was getting to the root cause of people's challenges and issues, whether it was spiritual, mental, physical, emotional, but getting to the root so that they can truly heal and move forward the way that they desire to. So seeing that, I'm on the phone, baby. Go ask Papa. 2016, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. And Atira, you know that mommy is on the phone. Okay, well, ask him to go get it, please. Or you're going to have to wait until I'm done.
She said she
okay,
want me to do it.
Well, then you're going to have to wait until I'm done. See, I told you this manifestor was she wanted what she wanted. But I'm not getting it right now, Atira. So 2016, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she was like, you know what, Jalisa, because of what you've been learning, because of what you've been studying, I don't want to do chemotherapy. I don't want to do radiation. I don't want to do surgery. I want to heal myself naturally. So I connected her with a naturopathic doctor, and in less than 4 months, she was healed from cancer.
Wow.
And it's like we have these instances, what one of my coaches calls divine synchronicities, that you experience, and it's like, you'll see this is where you're supposed to be. This is where you're meant to be. And seeing that, it was like, okay, because it brought me back to where I was supposed to be. Because, you know, we get off track. We go try to do other things because this thing ain't moving fast enough, or people ain't catching on fast enough. So that brought me back to, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. So that was when I decided, okay, I'm going to go to school. I got my degree in natural medicine. I became a board certified holistic health practitioner. And from there, I've been figuring things out as far as like what to do. So more recently, that's why I started going back to get new certifications in human design and the trauma of money certification that I'm doing. But there have been so many things along the way that I've been able to have access to that our people like either just are like leery about because it's like it's not the quote unquote norm. But also just they just don't understand. So being able to hear it from somebody that looks like them helps. Okay. So that's
so what's your ultimate goal, like with your licenses, and like what can people call you for? Like what is the ultimate goal with the certifications and your titles?
So essentially it is to provide people with the tools, the resources, and the safe spaces and community that they need. Atira, will you please?
You know they got a mute feature on here too. I be using that if my son can hit the mute button.
Hold on.
This is a good conversation because I have a very soft spot in my heart for single parents because I know the notion around that word, but I also know the other side that there are just so many scenarios. And so we shouldn't lump all people in one group. And even the people that come to your mind when you think about that term, it's still none of our business. You know, like all of us got here because people were intimate. Okay. And so judging people for those decisions and the physical evidence of those things is just, it's mind boggling to me. But I do know why people make those assumptions and those judgments, but that doesn't make it right, you know, because at the end of the day, a life is a life and it's a gift, you know, but it's not easy fostering those gifts. And so I salute men and women, you know, because it takes two to tango, right? I do salute the ones that are there doing the work because in order to raise productive members of society and so that we stop these ongoing traumas, because life is gonna life, right? If you are at a bank and somebody comes in and they steal everything in there, like that is a trauma, you know, that didn't feel good to witness that or experience that. But these traumas that are inflicted and sometimes self-inflicted and have been just passed down from generation to generation, we have the power to stop that. We have the power to stop that. We can't stop every bad thing that's going to happen, but we do have the power to rewrite stories that have been told from in generations in our family. And it can happen in your house. And parents have that ability to be able to stop the buck because they can start with themselves like Jalisa and I are doing. And we pass the positive coping mechanisms that we learn on to our children, and in turn creating a better society. And so I'm really passionate about how people view and discuss single parenthood, because if you knew the weight on our backs every single day, you would probably not speak about our positions the way that you would. And so y'all look, they can say what they want to say and I'm gonna say what I want to say. I'm a huge advocate for single parents because again, the responsibility and the weight and just the day-to-day, it's a lot. And I think because it's so quote unquote normalized for whatever reason that people don't see it from the vantage point that they probably should look at, like, which is, dang, that must be a lot of hard work. Do you need some help? Do you need a kind word?
That part.
Do you need a cash out? Okay. keep your mouth off of people and ask, can you help in some way? And if you can't, then back off.
Okay. And that was one thing that somebody said to me because I was just venting about just how I was feeling. And they're like, you strong, you got it. I said, listen, I don't want to be strong. I'm tired of being strong. I don't want to hear you got it. I want to hear I've got you. That's what I want to hear. Because I'm tired of having everything. I'm tired of bearing the load of all these different peoples, all these different roles, all these different hats, all these different responsibilities, and being the only one. I don't want to be the strong friend. I want to be the strong sister. I want to be the strong mom. I want to be held. I want to be supported. I want to be cared for.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
It's nothing wrong. That is so human. That is so human of you and so big of you to admit that, because I think people see the weight on our shoulders and what we do. And again, we make it quote unquote look easy, but it's a lot. And empathy goes a long way. And the good thing about it is that, like, as moms, it's a lot of stubborn, prideful moms out there too. And we're gonna talk about single dads as well, but we're both Black women, so this is the experience we're speaking from. Sometimes we can be a little prideful, but on the flip side of that, we have the power to create community. And one thing I can say about my community, my personal soul tribe, they show up. And whether that is loving on me, loving on my son, loving on us as a unit, a kind word, a funny meme, whatever. It's a beautiful thing to be able to curate that space.
Yeah, and to go back to answer your question, my vision and my desire for what it is that I do is to create a community of healed, whole individuals and families that are impacting the world. Because when you do the work to heal yourself, you're able to amplify that and heal others, but it starts with you as an individual. So working with individuals on, getting to the root of their challenges, whether it's a financial challenge, a mental, emotional challenge, but uprooting those things, filling them up with what they need to be able to bear the fruit that is going to be able to multiply out into the world. So I just, just my heart is for people to be healed, for people to be whole, and for people to be together in communities that are healthy and whole. Because, just the way that our communities are portrayed is heartbreaking, but that was how society caused us to be. Because when we did have thriving communities, what did they do? Burn them down. Okay, so it's like getting back to that where we have thriving communities and being able to support and build each other up versus tearing each other down. Because I recently, literally, not even a month ago, my little brother was shot and killed by another young boy. And
How
it's
old was your
like,
brother?
he was 24.
Lord, so young. I'm sorry
He
to hear
was
that.
24. And it's like how can we be the catalyst to help these young boys see and understand the impact that they're having by these behaviors that they don't even realize?
It's mindless. It's mindless. They're not thinking. It's mindless. And so, like you said, like what you just said when I asked you, what is your ultimate goal? You explained it very poetically. Like, I want to heal, help others heal, and in turn, like, just create community around that. And so, brothers, we need y'all. I know we're talking about single moms right now, but even if you don't have children, we need y'all, period. Like, to be pillars in our community, to be examples. This is a lot of mindless behavior taking out young people way too soon. And so this is a mental wellness podcast, right? So tapping into where you've been, and even if where you've been is a dark place, like a lot of us have been, where you want to go, you have the power to shift that, and you doing that and doing the work is allowing you to be an example for somebody else. And I'm so proud to be able to be someone like that in my community, because I come from the hood, Richmond, Virginia. Everybody got a little hood. They repping their place where they come from, right? But I love being able to hear people say, you inspire me, or I went to school with her, she's doing it, I can do that too. Even though what I do is not easy, but at least they're inspired to do something different than what they're doing. So I'm not sure what kind of work you're doing in that arena, but because I know you got kids, right? But I've been blessed to be able to go back into the high school that I got arrested at, and so inspiring those kids in the same gym that I was arrested in, fighting in, feels really good to me. So brothers, like, if you have the opportunity to change, to start figuring out what your brain is doing, how trauma has impacted you, like, just do it, and don't be caring about what nobody thinks, because we need y'all.
Absolutely. And I completely agree, because it's only but so much I, as a woman, can teach a boy about being a man. I can share, my thoughts on what it looks like to be a man, but the experiences, the mental challenges that they experience as boys and men, I can't relate. I can't, help them work through that. So it's very important for men to stand up, even if it's like, oh, those are not my kids. Like, it's important for you to stand up in these young boys and young men's lives so that they have the example, so that the next generation that comes up, they have that example. Because it's literally like just generations and generations of trauma that's being passed down. And it's like, okay, when somebody realizes it, then the weight is on their shoulders to kind of figure it out. And it's not fair.
We all have work to do. We all have our own personal responsibilities to heal, but also at a community level. Like, that's why I was saying earlier, it's a time to isolate and it's a time to be in community. And so even again, like you just said, if you don't have children, it's not about that ain't mine. I ain't got to worry about that. Go join a gym, go join a community center, go play ball with somebody's kid, go, teach them how to tie a tie. It doesn't have to be anything grand. You don't have to start a nonprofit. If that's your calling, great, do it, go for it, and bring 1 million people with you. But it's those small interactions that really count. Teaching a kid, one of my friends, what you said is you can't teach your boy how to be a man, right? But I know that some decent stand-up kings, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so intentionally kind of involving them in y'all sphere is really impactful. My son wants to be a painter. I have a friend that is a world-renowned painter right here in this city. And I know him. He lived like 10 minutes away. Took time out of his day to come bring my son his first art supplies and show him how to use them. You know what I mean? That's
I
a small
love
interaction, but
it.
that's something he's never going to forget. He don't know he knows who the man is in our life, but he don't know he's a world-renowned painter,
Yeah.
right? And so I'll be able to share that story with him and be like, this is, and we hang out sometimes. And it's so many other men like that in my life that I intentionally, keep around us to be able to at least have some positive experiences for him to look back on.
Absolutely. It's so important. One of the things that you mentioned, it was just right there on the tip of my tongue.
Mm-hmm.
But really going back to how important it is to have community and support. So more recently, just with everything that's been happening, I've been in a community of women we've all been studying human design together.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally, like, everything happened with my brother. It was like I shut down. I couldn't even, when people were asking, like, what do you need? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah.
But they came together and sent me literally hundreds of dollars worth of food so that I could make sure that we ate, because
Yeah.
I really didn't know what I needed. But when you're in the right spaces, in the right communities, they'll be able to see where you have your challenges and be able to be there to support you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why community is so vital and so important to me, because I wouldn't be here without community.
Come on.
I wouldn't be here without support. I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be here without just having people come up under me to say, sis, I got you.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the books that somebody recommended to me, I think it's called Sweet Braided Grass.
Mm-hmm.
And this idea that in nature, everything is connected.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's a part of the forest that is lacking supplies and nutrients and nourishment, another part of the forest will bring their resources over to that part of the forest, because they know that if that part
Yeah.
dies, a part of them dies off. So it's all about us being connected and realizing whether it's directly or indirectly, what we do or don't do impacts each other.
Oh, I love how you
We're
said that. What we do
all
or don't do.
we're
Yes.
all impacting one another, whether we see it or not. So we have to be very mindful of that it's not just about us, it's not just about our household, it's not just about our people. We're impacting everybody just by the way that we show up or don't show up.
Come on. A word. Come on. I have some notes here from our conversation. I just want to make sure we touch on a couple of these. But let's do this, because I know that you transition the kids out. And this is another segment that I've implemented, which is just a mindful moment. I typically start the podcast off with this, but breathing exercises have really helped me. And there's so many out there. And so the one that I do personally and on the podcast is just a 4 count in, hold for 4, and a 4 count out. And we do that 4 times. So we're going to pause and shift, because I do want to get more into your story just to make sure people have a total picture of who you are, because single motherhood is just one piece of that. And then, of course, we're going to get into some other things as well toward the end. But let's just do a mindful moment, and everybody watching, just pause and do it with us. All right. So we'll just say go, and then we'll do it. So I'll say 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Breathe in for 4. Hold for 4. Out for 4. One more time. Hold for 4. Out for 4. One more time. This is 3. Hold for 4. Out for 4. Last one. Out for 4. I needed that before the podcast started, and I forgot to do it. And so I said, we're going to do this right now.
Look, I needed it too.
Yes.
It's right on time, okay?
It's very relaxing. I feel so relaxed. So it's just simple. Something you can just pause, because we can't control every aspect of our lives, internally or externally, all the time. And so I always tell people, you have your mind and you have your breath. And so those are two things you can control. Well, your breath for the most part. Sometimes stuff be going on up here, you like, what? These are not my thoughts. What's happening, right? So you can pause and you have your breath. So yeah, I have some notes here that we've kind of touched on this. I'm just kind of checking some things off. But you were born with resilience, and you had talked about your mom being 7 months pregnant, and they asked her to not even keep you, and that her church family prayed over her, and whatever the prayers were, honey, they worked, and they came into agreement with God's will, because you're still here. And you're supposed to be born without a stomach. Doctors went back, couldn't find anything, and clearly, again, you sitting here talking with me on this podcast. You did share about like your dad, even though they were married, and dad was not as present, and so eventually they did get a divorce, though, right?
They're going through it right now.
Okay, all right, because I see divorce on here, but okay, all right, that's a long time. Like, dang, you wait until I get out of the house to go. That's crazy. Also, I don't know if this is something you really want to touch on. You didn't say there wasn't anything you didn't want to talk about, but I have a note here about like the abuse from a family member. So it's up to you if you want to go there, but you can guide the conversation however you want to go.
Yeah, so that was another generational thing that I didn't even know until I exposed what happened to me. Because a lot of times, your parents have the best intentions to protect you from things. It was like she didn't want us to be around the males in our family alone. And, you don't, as a kid, you don't understand. Like, you're like, okay, you trust your mom, you trust your parents. And growing up, my biological sister, who was actually also sexually abused by one of our aunts, and her god sister, who was a little bit older than her, whatever they were doing to her, she came home and did to me. And nobody knew what was going on, of course, because my mom and dad had their own issues, their own drama, their own stuff going on. They were separated for the first 5 years of my life, still trying to figure out what they wanted to do. So it was like my mom going through her own trauma at the time. She missed the signs. And for both of us, and we just grew up and had these different behaviors where, we were labeled, I was labeled fast. My sister was labeled, she was slow because she stopped talking at one point in time. It was like all of these symptoms of a deeper problem that people were missing, because all they were worried about was what they could see on the surface level. And, I was labeled angry. I was labeled, just uncontrollable, like all these different labels that stuck with me all these years, but nobody knew it was really a cry for help. And that was one of the things that I appreciated doing my own study about, parenting and different things like that, is that every behavior is a message.
Come on now.
And if we don't pay attention, we'll miss the message. And that's what happened for years. Because I didn't tell anybody until I was 20 what happened to me.
Did you tell your therapist or somebody else?
I told my ex-husband at the time. That was another part of the trauma bond that I had formed with him. Because it was like I felt like he was a safe space for me to share. He was the very first person I had ever told it to. And he was like, well, you need to tell somebody. And I finally told my mom about it. And she was like, oh my gosh. She was like, I have been trying to protect y'all from that. And I'm thinking it was coming from the men, when it could really be anybody.
Let me tell you something. Let's put a pin in that. Because the fact that you said that because she had her own trauma going on, this again speaks to Black people in our experience. And I'm not saying nobody else has trauma, right? Let's just focus on what we're focusing on. That is just wow. It's like wow. And I have these conversations often. Like, I'm a very fun person. I'm very deep. I have like substance. I like to talk about things that actually matter. I can still have fun. And so it's amazing to me, like some concepts, they're just so simple, and it's just like, don't y'all understand it? Like, we got a lot of work to do. And so many Black families have the same story. right? It's different, but you know, as far as the type of traumas, it's very similar. And so I just feel uh I have a heart. I just have a heart for like people that experience trauma and like are on this journey, but like their family still don't get it, right? But we are looked at as like the oddballs because we're aware of this and how it's affected us and how you were just kind of in your own rut and not even in your own cloud. It's like a veil over them because they're in survival mode. A lot of people who raised our generation, Gen X, I think, they were raised a certain way. They got their own things that they went through. We're not negating any of that. But I like to call the millennials, we're kind of like we expose stuff. We shining a light on it, okay? And we cleaning it up. And so it can make our parents and that generation feel uncomfortable, but I will shout out the Gen Xers that are on board. They like, look, if it was acceptable for me to say something, I would have. And so when we speak up, they're proud of us. They linking arms with us. But it's different. We're in a different space because we know we're not gonna have just anybody around our kids. It ain't about men or women. It's all of y'all. Right. And so when I see certain things with people, even pick up spiritually certain things with people, I don't care who you are, man, woman, boy, girl, 2, 12, 22, 72, 82. And so I'm sorry that happened to y'all, but I am kind of it makes me feel a little bit better that when you talk to your mom, she wasn't denying it.
Yeah,
that's a whole nother trauma.
Yes, that is a whole nother trauma because in my experience with telling people what happened to me, they're like, well, I told my mom and she didn't believe me.
Yeah.
Or I told my mom and she beat me because I even said anything. And it's like, or I told, like tried to confront this person and it didn't go the way that it should have gone.
Yeah, man.
And for me, she was like, Jalisa, I never told them. My mom, literally, when I say she was an open book, like she would talk about anything, everything with us, talk about sex, all of that, all of those things. But she was like, I never told anybody that my uncle sexually abused me when I was younger. And a lot of the cousins and the siblings, he was just the predator of the family. And he would go around and nobody would talk about it. It was what happens in the house, stays in the house. Don't talk about it. Don't, like, it was a literal like cover up of so much trauma that was happening. She tried not to pass it down,
right?
But when
she did what she thought she was supposed to do, because in her mind it was men, because that's what happened to her.
Yeah.
Dang, yeah.
And just me sharing it and exposing it, that was how it was exposed within the family, because literally nobody was talking about it. She went a little bit after that, she went down to a family reunion and she opened up about it, and they were like, it happened to you too?
Come on now. And something I always say is that our parents, when they share these stories about things that have happened to them from people they trusted, even folks in the church or the mosque, wherever, it's always somebody close. And not to say it can't be anybody outside of that, but that's the scary part. But also too, what's I about to say? What did you just say just now? Because it triggered a thought.
Basically, like, it happened to you too.
I got it. It came back to me. Dang, why does it keep going out of my head like that? It happened to you too. Oh, these people are not that old. Some of them probably died or whatever, went on to glory. But these people are still, they're your dads, they're your aunties, they still here. Like, the people that have come out about their stories are still living, which means some of their abusers are still living. And so why would I keep quiet about that so you can do it to somebody else?
Yeah.
So I don't mind being the person that talks too much or why she's saying that, because somebody has to do it. And I mean, like, these are family members. These are your friends. These are people you go to church with. These are people you work with. They're still living.
Yeah.
How you gonna be quiet about that?
And when I wrote my book and I was sharing my story and sharing my experiences, people were like, you shared too much. And it's like, the thing about it is, the only way to really heal and truly heal is to uncover those things that have been terrorizing you and continuing to traumatize you over and over again. If I keep it covered, if I keep it in the dark, you're never going to truly heal.
Somebody asked me yesterday, why are you so open and forthcoming? And in my head, I'm like, why you not? Right? I know everybody not like that, right? I get it. But at the same time, I don't have any shame. Nothing I've done, nothing I've been through, I'm not shamed about. I'm not shaming myself. So even if you try to shame me about it, it's gonna bounce off of me. Because if I'm saving somebody else from not having to go through what I went through, or at least like exposing them to it, so even if they do encounter, they're like, okay, I know what this is. So people gonna look at folks like you and me like, why you sharing so much? Well, we know the conversations we're having with people that's like, that touched me, or that happened to me, or that happened to somebody in my family. Now I have language for it. Now I know what to look out for. That is a part of community healing.
Yeah.
So it may make people uncomfortable, but maybe you should examine why it makes you uncomfortable.
Exactly, because you got some stuff that you need to deal with within yourself.
Because if it's something wrong that happened, how are you telling me or asking me, why am I talking about that? Huh? How does that even make sense? You know? So I get it. You know, it can make people uncomfortable, and I understand why. But at the same time, are you hurting because of it? Somebody's life is getting saved because of it. It's a difference, right, when you're like spewing drama and it's like ill intent and negative energy. But it's like, no, I'm sharing this so somebody can get saved, so somebody can get free, and so somebody can come out of that dark place that they're in, hiding in a corner somewhere because they think they're by themselves. No.
Absolutely. It's so many people suffering in silence because they feel like they're alone, that nobody will understand, that this is just like, for me, I just thought that, dysfunction was going to be a regular part of my life.
It ain't.
Like, that was just the normal.
It ain't, because we stopped in the buck. You feel me?
It was like I would continue to get into these dysfunctional relationships. Like, okay, well, this is just what my life is going to be. I'm just going to take it to the chin and keep it moving. I'm strong. Going back to that, I'm strong. I can handle it. I can deal with it. I can do it. No, I was settling. And my desire is to show people and share with people that they don't have to settle for less in any area of their lives. Whether it's relationally, financially, business-wise, mentally, emotionally. Like, we settle for these labels and we settle for these things, not realizing there's a root to what you're dealing with. And if you can uncover it, expose it, uproot it, your life can change drastically.
It can change. And it's not going to be easy. It's going to be an ugly process. Let's keep that all the way real, right? But it's going to have some beautiful moments. You're going to have some aha moments. You're going to need support. You're going to need to cry by yourself sometimes. It's a lot of things that we go through, especially with this social media age. We feel so compelled to put everything in a reel and talk about this and talk about that. But some stuff you do have to go through on your own. It's going to be just you and God. That aha moment, you driving and you saw this, or this song came on. It was like, that was for me. That was for me and God, right? But it's going to be ugly sometimes too. And that is okay, because the stuff that we've been through is ugly. So you made it through that, you can make it through this and get on the other side and have a different experience on life and perspective on life. And to me, that's beautiful. And I don't think anything worth having is going to be easy. So,
and something I learned about studying natural health is something called a healing crisis, where it basically reverses the symptoms that you experienced, and it gets worse before it gets better. And that's not just physical. You go through that sometimes spiritually, mentally, emotionally, where you go through this healing crisis and you like, why I feel worse now that I'm doing the work than I did before. But that's the experience that you're having to go through this healing crisis to get back to the other side of your healing. Sometimes it does feel worse before it gets better.
Yeah. What's your vision for your children?
My vision for my children is for them to be in a space and place where they can do the work that they're passionate about and not have to worry about, I got to do this to get a paycheck. To be able to be in a space where they can learn and grow in a way that is feasible for them. Because I do plan to homeschool. I am homeschooling my kids because I want them to be able to learn and grow in a way that fits them. Not just sitting down in the classroom for, X amount of hours, regurgitating information. I want them to be prepared for life, to be prepared for adulthood, to be able to build healthy relationships with people and be able to discern and see, okay, this person is not for me before it gets too late. Be able to check in with themselves and have that internal dialogue that is healthy, that will be able to support them as they make decisions in life. No, of course, they're not going to always make the right decision, but giving them a healthy foundation to build off of, which unfortunately I didn't have, is what my vision for them, so that they can say, like, Mom, you were there Mom, like, you did it, Mom. You didn't settle. And in turn, you not settling showed me that I didn't have to settle. You taking care of yourself, Mom, showed me how important it was for me to take care of myself. Because growing up, my mom literally, even to this day, like, she gives everything to everybody else. Then when it's time for her, she feels guilty.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, when she's asking other people for help and support, nobody is there.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to really figure out what that even looked like, self-care. Like, what is that? How do I even do that? Like, why is it important for me to take them, like, learning that, but also showing my kids that? Because, like, the other day, my daughter, she could tell I was, like, a little irritated. She was like, Mommy, you got to stop. You got to take a deep breath. And I was like, you're right, baby. You're right.
I love
You're
it.
right.
Those are beautiful moments with our children. It's like, even though we have these long, hard, tough, trying days, there are some beautiful moments. Sometimes it may not be the full day, but sometimes those moments with your kids that let you know, okay, I'm doing this thing right, whatever that looks like.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, those are such beautiful moments. We were sharing in the wellness space that I was in on this past Sunday with Black moms. Something that kept coming up in my spirit when I was hearing people share about their children, because a lot of it was from a place of like stress, but it was a safe place, right?
Yeah.
But we were supported. Shout out to It's Love Is, Sharice Jackson and Amzai Jackson. Beautiful couple doing some beautiful work in Richmond, Virginia. They shared a lot and like really poured into us, but we were able to like just share, you know, in a safe space. But something that came up that I wasn't able to share was, you know, those moments when my son just come up and hug me and like cuddle with me right here, and he just does this long, deep sigh. And it just makes me know I'm his safe place. Like a hug from his mama is probably all he ever gonna need, even when he's 50, 60 years old. That is, it's so subtle, but I love when I hear him do that. It just melts my heart. I'm like, oh, I'm really his safe space. And so, you know, I wanted to share like a positive side of parenting, because it's hard, like married or not, okay? It's hard. So when I say give single parents their just due, keep your mouth off of them, because they got a job and then some. So yeah, I do like to share the good with the bad and the indifferent, all of that stuff. But that's one of my favorite things about being a mom. When I hear my son do that side, like, it's just beautiful.
Yeah, I woke up this morning because my daughter sleeps in the bed with me. I just rolled over and I just looked at her. She was sleeping, and it's like, we're safe. Like, she's here with me. I know my baby is okay. Like, just those moments, those glimmers of positivity, and just like you realizing that I'm doing this. Like, I'm killing it. Like, I'm killing it. Like, I kept my babies alive. Like, people underestimate, like, it takes a lot to keep a little human alive with all the stuff that they be trying to get into all day, every day.
Come on. Yeah.
So if I'm making through the day and we all alive still, it's like, look,
That's
okay,
right.
we did it.
That's right. Yeah. I love that. I'm looking through all of my notes, and I think we've covered just about everything. But is there something that you want to talk about that we haven't talked about yet? And also, while you're thinking about that, how have you been through the things that you've been through? And well, have those things affected you mentally? Because I think about my mom and the stuff she's been through. I'm like, you should be in a straitjacket somewhere. So like, what does that look and feel like for you?
For me, it was definitely a journey, because I used to struggle with suicidal ideations, and realizing that I had so much more to live for than the pain that I experienced. I was able to, one, get the help that I needed in order to deal with those parts of me that were in pain, that just wanted to give up, that just wanted to stop being in pain. And realizing that it was okay to get help, because, you know, growing up, being in the church, being in the Black community, it's taboo to go to therapy. Like, what you need therapy for? Just go pray about it. You be all right, God got it.
Go talk to the pastor about it. He got his own problems.
So finally, like, breaking free from those stigmas around therapy and getting the help and support that I needed helped me to see, okay, like, I can do other things outside of drinking, outside of being promiscuous, outside of doing drugs, outside of those things that were really only suppressing the issue, and get the help that I needed to heal. I wasn't just using those, going to continue to use those to cope and just to get by and just to function in a dysfunction, because showing up, getting the degrees, doing the job, doing this, doing that. But on the inside, I was literally dying. But until I reconciled that to say, okay, like I can get help and also, still have my relationship with God. I can still, go to church and still and get therapy. That was a pivotal moment for me, because it was like, this, I'm sorry, God, but this is not working. Like, coming to terms with that, it's like I'm praying, I'm in the word, I'm studying, I'm serving, like, but it's not working. I'm still in pain.
Yeah. And shout out to the churches that are finding that link between being real about human design, the body, the mind, the spirit. It's all connected, right? I attend a church sometimes in my area, and sometimes I look at it online, and I found my previous life and business coach by accident. Someone just told me to turn on live streaming that morning. I was cleaning up, and I'm barely looking because I'm cleaning up, and I just heard this woman just spitting game. I'm like, who is this lady? Like, she's talking about mental health. She's talking about, I just was talking about you, Sharice. I found out for the event this past Sunday. Thank you for joining us. But I was like, I had to stop cleaning. I looked at my computer. I'm like, who is this woman? Shout out to Sheila Batter. She is just amazing. She's from Philly. I love most people from Philly because they just have this realness and rawness. But I love how she was talking about her love for God. Yeah. But she was also talking about her expertise. She's gone to school, for, I don't know exactly what for, but she's a mental health professional. And I love God. I love Jesus. Okay. But I love mental health and anything mental health related. And so when I heard somebody talking like that in the church, in front of the pastor, I was like, I need to talk to this woman. And as soon as I said that, she was like, you want to book a free 15-minute consultation, you can call me. Because I remember being at a place where I felt stuck. I was sick. I was having a flare with my autoimmune issue. I was a year into being a single mom, unexpectedly. Financially, I was doing everything by myself. COVID was happening. I had to stop working because I was sick. It was just a lot of transition. I felt like I needed some guidance. And at that same time, I also prayed for Black, healthy women that could be like a mentor to me. And when I say that lady, she got me all together. I didn't even have to have that many sessions with her. But those are God moments, right? Because she just spoke so much life into me. And she was real. She said, you want to be an entrepreneur? I said, yeah. And she was like, it's not going to be easy. She was like, she gave me the real. She did not say I could not do it. And to this day, anytime she sees me make another accomplishment with what I'm doing, look, we're 2 years in now with my business. She's like, I am so proud of you, because she gave me the real. And she like, this is your decision at the end of the day. And so I said that to say, shout out to the churches that are bridging that gap, because God is good. Okay. But if you are going through some really extreme circumstances and mentally some things going on, I'm not saying you can't be healed. I'm not saying anything other than what I'm saying, which is that he made those humans that decided to go to school for therapy and sociology and psychology. Those were gifts that he placed into them, because I can't do it. Okay. Even doing this podcast, I'm like, am I going to be able to do this podcast in totality? Because I don't know if I can handle other people's trauma like that, right? So he's been building me up, but I know I can't do that every day. So I look at it from that perspective. Like, he gave all of us a different bandwidth, a different gift to be able to sustain people's stories and listen to them and give them advice. And I'm not one of them, okay? So I'm going to go to one of his children that he has given that gift to, and also the expertise. And so that's the way I look at it. I know people have different viewpoints, but I'm really proud that there are ministries and churches that are not denying the fact that you could do both, right?
Yeah.
So,
because we're a whole person. We're not just spirit. We're not just physical. Like, we're spirit, mind, body, like all of that. And if you're only addressing the spiritual aspects of what people like, oh, okay, come to church, read the Bible, like, yes, do that. But also, if you're struggling mentally, get the help and support that you need.
You are a spirit in a body. And so, yes, let's address the spiritual, because that is so important. But if I get a pain every time I talk about this trauma, or if I'm sick and I'm the only person in my family with this disease and I've been through the most trauma, something ain't right. I need to go talk to somebody. So I love how you put that. And I just want to say I'm proud of you, and I'm really glad that we connected. Shout out to NASDAQ Entrepreneurial Center for
Yes.
allowing us to be able to connect. I met some amazing women in that group, and when I found out that you lost your brother, I was just like, is she gonna be able to come on this podcast? Let me check on her. So, like you said, you were born with that resiliency. Rest in peace to your brother, and giving condolences to you, your family. And I know what you're going through is tough. I do know that. But just know that you have community in me and in the rest of the Soul Tribe family. We may not be in the same state, but I can offer a word, okay? Because I need a cash app too. And I know you do. So look, I might not be able to cash out you nothing, but I can offer you love. I can offer you support, and just know we in this thing together. It's in solidarity. So I know that there will be a lot of people that watch this replay. So leave Jalisa some love in the comments on YouTube and on Instagram and wherever you see this at. Any other words? Anything you want to share? Anything you want to shout out? And I got one more question, but go ahead.
Yes. You mentioned the loss of my brother, and one of the things that my therapist helped me work through is that we have the opportunity to understand that death is just as natural as birth.
Come on. Yes.
And I never looked at it that way. Like, we think of death as a loss and we think of birth as a gain. But it's all just a part of life. We're all going to be born and we're all going to die. It's not that we're going to know. We don't know when we're going to be born. We don't know when we're going to die. But we have to make it just as natural and celebrate it the way that we celebrate giving birth and people giving birth and children coming into this world, because it's just the cycle of life. And for me, it was like, it made so much sense, but it's not talked about. People don't talk about death or dying, or really like talk about the grief process, but they don't really talk about it in that way, to say that it's a natural part of life. And yes, grieve, be sad, but don't let that take you to the place where you stop living. And I realized that even in giving birth, there are some traumatic experiences that women have given birth, but that doesn't make it any less beautiful when they get their child. Some people they go peacefully in their sleep. Other people have traumatic experiences with, how they leave here. But it's just something that we get to realize is a natural part of life. Whether we have a traumatic or beautiful beginning, or a traumatic or, peaceful ending, it's a natural part of life. And that, for me, helped me to shift to be able to continue to live, instead of feeling like, my brother not here no more. Like, what's the point? Because it's like he didn't get the opportunity to see his kids, because he literally just had his first son on his birthday, September 12th. His baby was a month old, and then we find out when he passed that his girlfriend was pregnant, 7 weeks pregnant. And it's like, I was upset. You have that survivor's remorse. Like, I get to be with my kids, my brother won't. But it was like, okay, God, like, what's best. Like, even though we don't know, what is, like, what's the point? What is the meaning of this? I had to relinquish control to say, God, like, you in control. I can't bring my brother back, but I can live on and continue to shine a light on his legacy. Because my brother, when I say he lived life to the fullest, like, he lived life to the fullest, like, he lived life like every day was his last. He didn't miss the opportunity to connect. He didn't miss the opportunity to support. He didn't miss the opportunity to show love. Like, even when he was going through his own stuff, he was still showing up for people, shining his light, and his smile literally always lit up a room. And I think just reminding myself of that, like, I want to continue to live on like that, to show up and shine, even when I have difficult days. Like today, because literally, thought across my mind, like, my kids is on 1,000. I'm like, I don't want to. Like, let me go ahead and show up. So for you to ask the question that you asked in the beginning, like, where are you mentally? That's important to really check in from that standpoint. Because a lot of times you're like, hey, girl, how you doing? I'm fine. Girl, no, you're not. No, you're not.
How are you really doing? That's why I say I don't even, like, that's why my question on the podcast is, how is your mental health? Because if I tell you, how are you doing, you're going to give me the blanket. I'm good. No, if you're not, say you're not. And that is okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And being able to have safe spaces to be able to talk about that and release, it helps you to continue to show up.
That's it.
And know that you're going to be safe, and know that the purpose behind the pain, it's not in vain. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to share, to just give people a different perspective
That is
on
a
death. Like,
beautiful perspective.
my condolences to those that have lost loved ones, or, will lose loved ones, because it's coming. But remembering that it is a natural part of life, and we get to celebrate it the same way we celebrate giving birth and new babies being born.
That's
So,
right. I love that. Thank you for sharing that perspective. And even with what you're going through, I think people like us with these big Kool-Aid smiles, child, whenever we smile, even if we feeling terrible, we gonna light up a room, and that energy they give us back. So again, just being in community and showing up. So thank you for showing up. Even with the little ones, honey, we rectified the situation, and we got through it, and we had a really beautiful conversation. I got a lot of nuggets and God moments in this conversation. So thank you for that. Thank you for being a thriver. Thank you for just continuing to push. I know you're going to have them days where you're like, oh my God. I had plenty of them just last week, child. Like, what is it giving? But, we here, and we're able to reflect, and we're able to be in community that feels safe, that feels loved and supportive. So, again, you are a friend of the Soul Tribe family now. And one last question I have for you is, what do you do? And when I ask you that first time, it's like, what do you do? What's your title? Who do people know you as? But what do you do to bring you joy? What do you do when you have those tough moments? Because again, it's a mental wellness podcast, and I want people to be able to look at this, learn, be educated, but also take away tangible things that they could probably implement if they're not already doing it.
Yeah. I reach out to support and community people that I know are safe spaces, for me to just be able to vent, or, give sound advice, because everybody not giving sound advice. Okay.
Correct.
The other thing, I literally was just doing it before this, is called emotional freedom technique, and it's also called tapping. And I call it acupressure with affirmation, because you tap on certain points of your body to release the energy of the emotions that might not be serving you or supporting you. And it's like taking a deep breath, but it goes a little deeper. There's something that I do.
I remember the lady Sheila Battle taught me. She said, honey, even the saints be tapping. She was like, tapping is working, okay? My bad. I just had to share that. It was so funny.
Absolutely. Another one is it's called inverted legs, where you lay on the floor and put your legs up at a 90-degree angle. And that is very powerful to kind of quiet your mind, calm your mind down, because when we go into that fight or flight mode, our mind is just going, having all these negative thoughts like, okay, I need to get out of this situation. But when you do that, it calms your mind, it calms that part of your brain, and reminds you don't have to run, you're safe. So it helps you to regulate your nervous system. There are a lot of different things. Journaling, and realizing that our phones literally contain like everything. We do everything from our phones. But for me, starting out my day, hopping on my phone, getting on emails, doing like all the things, like jumping into all of that, it was scattering my brain. So now when I start my day, I start with prayer, I start with journaling, and I read a book that is going to nourish my mind. And that helps tremendously with just being able to start my day grounded and in a peaceful place. I didn't get to do that this morning. So that's why that's why I was a little off this morning. I'm like, look, can I just get 2 minutes, y'all, please? But there's so many different things out there. And one of the things that has tremendously shifted just how I show up is human design. And just being able to study, I realize, like, being able to study who we are, we're studying and understanding who God is, because he made us. So just studying that and understanding like the different intricacies of who I am and how I relate to other people has helped me tremendously with just how I show up in business, how I show up for my kids, and how I understand my kids. Like I was saying in the beginning, they're different energy types. So I know my daughter, the manifester, her not self-esteem is anger. So when that shows up, I'm not going to belittle her or say, oh, you shouldn't be angry. I'm going to meet her where she is and be able to look deeper. Okay, what do I need to do? How do I need to support you? How do I need to show up for you and get the message of the behavior versus just labeling your child as angry, or people say, oh, they bad, or they this, or they no. It's a message that you're missing in that. And human design has helped me to discover so much about, myself and my kids and just
That's
other
amazing.
people overall. Yeah, so that's one of the things. And if you're interested in learning more, I'll be certified. I have level 1 and level 2 certification. I'm getting my level 3 certification this week. So I'll be offering human design reading so people can get a better understanding of what it looks like to, really have the blueprint for their life and how they get to show up in the world.
Amazing. So you mentioned a book earlier. What's the name of your book and how can people get it?
Yes, it's on Amazon. The title of my book is It's All in Me, My Journey to Freedom and Living Abundantly. And I'm going to give you just a heads up. It's a whole lot of stuff in there. Some of the things that I shared here, but I've been through a lot of traumatic experiences. But God gave me literally the framework to get free. And I wrote it in that book to get free and stay free and support other people with their freedom journey. Because we get to be free. It's just a matter of,
choice.
Exactly. We get to choose. Because literally it's like we're in this jail cell and we have the key in our hands still trying to figure out how to get out. You got the keys.
You got the keys.
You just got to tap into yourself. A lot of times we go to outside sources for the answers when God has given us everything that we need. So that's why the title of my book is It's All in Me, My Journey to Freedom and Living Abundantly, and just being able to share my story and experiences and the things that God showed me along the way that has helped me even in my marriage. Like I wrote that book 5 months before I got married, not knowing that it was going to be the thing that helped me to get out.
Wow. What's your website?
Jalisa
and your Instagram?
Hardy.com.
Jalisa Hardy.
JalisaHardy.com. My Instagram is at the Holistic Health Plug. So I have a lot of different resources, a lot of different tools, and more recently, in order to support people with preparing for 2024, I'm in the process of launching my Prayer Planning and Purpose 30-day group program for women to be in a supportive community, but to also understand how to prepare and plan for 2024 in a way that is supportive and specific to their human design. So I'm incorporating human design, I'm incorporating prayer, and I'm incorporating community in this space so that we can really be connected with God in a way that is going to clear up some of the noise, clear up some of the confusion and chaos with how other spaces, places, society has told us how to prepare for life and how to prepare for the new year. You do the vision board, the New Year's resolutions, and don't stick to them. So this program is really going to support you with figuring out and getting clear on what planning and purpose looks like for you.
Yes. Congratulations, girl. And thank you for your time. This has been episode 26 of Soul Seek Conversations with Jalisa Hardy. Thank you, my love. I'm going to stay on for a few more seconds and make a couple closing announcements. But thank you. This was beautiful.
Yes, it was. Thank you so much for continuing to check on me throughout this process, because it's been tough, but I'm glad I showed up. This was an amazing conversation. I appreciate you for all that you do, and I just wish you success and the best. I just pray that God continues to pour into you 100-fold what you pour out to other people. I just thank you and really appreciate you for it all.
Beautiful. I received that, sis, and I'm sending it back to you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. Have a good one.
Too. Peace.
Peace. Y'all, another great episode. I knew it would be, right? And I'm glad that we got through our bumps and our challenges. And I'm glad that you all stayed with us. If you're watching a replay, just put in the comments a sunshine emoji to let me know that you got to the very end, that you enjoyed this. If anything stuck out, share it with somebody that you know needs to hear it. You can watch this episode on YouTube if you're not watching it on there, so you can scroll back and forth easily, because it's not the easiest thing to do on Instagram. So what else? I will see you next month. Next month, I got a surprise for y'all. If you're in Richmond, Virginia, y'all probably know this person outside of Richmond too, because, yeah. But stay tuned for that. Get on our email list so you know who's coming, so you get details on what's coming out new. You can get shop first, all of that. Just get on the email list. SoulRiseEssentials.com. A pop-up will pop up, and it'll ask for your text, for your number or your email. But yeah, mind your mind. Okay, and shine your light. I will see y'all next month for episode 27. Thank you, Jalisa. Beautiful conversation. Peace, y'all. See y'all next month.